Welcome, Hunters, to Hunters Hub, episode 37. Today, we are going to have some fun speculating about, well, just speculation, honestly. But first of all, I want to thank Wolfie Mellon for the music, the beautiful music she's given us, and Jeremy Clark for the art, and our Monster Hunter World for the cross-promotion.
Hurrah!
Yay! So today, this is Fortuan. Hi. Sorry. Also joined by me, co-host Toaster. How you doing?
Hello, I'm alive. And
we got
back
two
from
guests. Oops, sorry. Go ahead.
I was like, I am back from vacation. Sorry for being gone, everybody, but I was relaxing.
Okay. Yeah. Relaxing is great. I'm technically on vacation now. I don't have to work this week. So.
Ooh.
Rude.
Yeah. Technically. I'm working on a house. But So today with us are two guests. Virtue, how you doing?
Yay. I'm good, dude. How are you?
I'm okay. Welcome back. And
Thanks.
Haru, how you doing?
Hello. It's Balzac Farm Week, so
Right.
suffering with randoms.
Da-da-da.
Suffering
can't-
from one-shot kills and, like, Rathian charge level ticks from his effluvia. Holy cow.
It's like
It
it's
cannot
like the
be
jump
that
scare of
bad.
failed quests.
Deep down, we're all randoms, ready to single cart
Oh, I know.
on your mission for you.
That sounds like North Korea propaganda.
Wow, man. Jump to communism because of random hate?
I don't hate them. I mean,
What? Oh my god. No.
Let's do it. Let's get all political.
Yes.
What do you got against randoms, man?
Welcome to Political Hub, where we talk about politics.
I got nothing against randoms. I'm fine. I was just having fun. So tonight we're just going to do, like I said, we're going to do some speculation. But I asked everyone to sort of come up with their own monster they would like to have in any Monster Hunter, but mine's going to be a Monster Hunter World. Maybe a future Monster Hunter and that kind of stuff. It's been kind of a slow news week. The only thing we really got is, hey, Summerfest is happening, and we've known about Behemoth coming out later this summer. So we're just sort of like, I don't know, what's happening next? So we're just going to have fun today. So how we're going to do this, I think we're just going to do it one by one, and I'll start with, we'll take a volunteer. Who wants to go first? I'm going to go last.
I'm not volunteering as tribute.
All right, I can go first.
Okay.
This is inspired by a couple different places, but I would like a giant porcupine creature. Like, kind of think of how I almost said Nargacuga. That's not correct at all. Think of how Nergigante has his spikes all over, but
Yeah.
make it more so like that, and actually like a mammalian type of creature. We already have kind of the stuff in place for it. We could have a roll and stuff like that. I think it'd be neat if it was an electric monster, though. So, as
Okay.
you're fighting it, whenever it gets enraged, it would start rattling its body, and its quills would start clattering together and generating like static electricity that would arc between different spines.
Kind of sounds like a dauntless monster.
A little bit, but
Oh.
you'd have to swing for like its. It would have like larger feet or something that stuck out, or whenever it did its roll, it like exposed its belly side, so you could swing at something without bouncing off or electrocuting yourself, and kind of have it so if you hit its spines while it's electrocuted, you would get like thunderblight on you. So it would kind of encourage you to bring along at least one ranged person that can help break the spikes and expose an area you could hit.
Huh. Okay.
I don't want it to have like growing back spikes, because I think like you should be able to knock off its spikes over time, and it just gets more vulnerable over time because it's still just a mammal. And obviously it would keep a few key spikes so its electricity could generate, but I think it'd be a neat idea, just something you just wander across that's initially not hostile to you, because it's a porcupine. Porcupines don't care about things.
Now,
So let me ask you this.
Yes.
Would you stand in front of Rajang and say it's just a mammal?
No, but that's because I have a violent hatred of monkeys. Like, spoiler alert about Toaster. Toaster hates monkeys. Like, legitimately, I
Oh,
hate
really?
those animals. Yeah.
I've never heard this.
They're just,
So you were pro-human in like Planet of the Apes?
oh yes, of course.
Nice.
I do not like monkeys in any form or game. I think the only time I maybe like one is for like any representation of Son Goku, where it's the Monkey King.
What about Ape Escape?
No.
We get to catch him.
Negative.
I mean, not to be vulgar, but those monkeys are assholes.
A little bit.
Yeah, they really are.
Didn't they have a?
Really hoping that E3 would have like a revival of that game somehow.
It'd be cool. That would be a good crossover with Monster Hunter. Get your cats to dress up like one of those apes with the stupid hat and everything.
So,
Oh man.
which game would this be in?
I think it'd fit in World because of the better
Okay.
graphics. So you could see the lightning sparking between the claws.
Sure.
I mean, specifically, I think it'd be even better to have what's it called? Have it be like in the forest, because you don't normally see its spikes. It's not like it has to use the sky for its lightning. It's generated by static. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
So
I mean, you're just piling on the forest, but yeah.
I know, but I think it'd fit more, because where do you find porcupines?
In the forest. Yeah.
Yeah.
So porcupines, they're not predators, and like probably their most distinctive like move in the sense of a Monster Hunter attack animation is like they curl up in a ball. And
It would do
It's
the
kinda
rolls.
turtle.
It'd do the spin, the tail flip things, where it whips its tail around, and maybe when it whips its tail around, spikes fly out.
oh,
That just sounds like a spiky Volvidon.
But Volvidon's boring.
I was gonna say it almost sounds like the ancient mammal, the Glyptodon.
I don't know what that is, but I'm going to look that up. You said
Sorry,
gl-
that's my paleontologist coming out in me.
What's a glyptodon?
Yeah, Glypton. Ptodon.
It's weird. I mean, a glyptodon doesn't have spikes though. It has just a carapace.
Right, but it would be spiked instead of a turtle shell.
True.
Essentially.
There was one variant I had that actually I kind of did want to do, and it would be put in the desert instead.
Okay.
It's the same concept as the porcupine, except it shifts. It keeps its element, but it uses a little bit more of it. And it's more defensive, less aggressive. But instead of a porcupine, it'd be a pangolin, because they have their those more. You trade out the sharp spikes for flattened armor scales.
So like a Glyptodon.
Yeah. Sorry. But I think it'd be neat. As for its armor, its weapons would obviously be very sharp weapons, very pointy and stuff like that. I'm not 100% sure what its armor would do. I would think, like razor sharp or something like that. Or
Sure.
its armor would be good at not being deflected. What's the skill where...
This is like the
Mind's
D&D
eye.
of like monster creation.
Yeah, it would have like mind's eye to it, because
Okay.
usually the armor of the monster kind of helps you beat the monster, right? Or at least resist some of its issues.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
So,
I mean, they
It's got +5 fire resistance.
they go both ways. Like some,
So, yeah, because you would
this
bounce off its
monster's
quills.
weaknesses, some are strengths against this monster.
yeah.
True.
But I think that'd be fun. And plus, I just like porcupines. They're cool, and I want more passive monsters where you kind of feel bad for killing them because they're just minding their own business.
So another question for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is in World, right? So
Right.
what are the turf wars?
The turf wars. I kind of want one with the other reason I put it in the forest. I want one with Tobi Kadachi, and they both they both do this thing where they stand back and the porcupine rattles its quills and they stand on it and get electrified, and Tobi does the exact same thing, rattles his body, gets super electrified, and they just do this big lightning clash against each other. And I think it'd be great if they both got what's the word? Not
And then one obtained Ultra Instinct.
I was gonna say if they both short-circuited each other, basically, so they both kind of go down and they both take massive damage, and you can kind of wail on them for a little bit.
What if, now, I hate to hijack your idea, but
Yes.
what if it was the second bonded attack and there's just an arc of lightning between the two?
You're talking like the Harry versus Voldemort type of lightning between the two.
No, just like like one of those.
I'd be down for that.
Well, like how the light bulbs work, right? The two little metal.
Oh yeah.
Light.
Yeah,
basically
little conduits.
Yeah, so they're basically a conduit to each other while they're both fighting you.
Oh, so if you pass through the middle of them, you get zapped for a lot of damage.
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
and it arcs up them. It's not constant. It's like bzzzt, bzzzt.
What if it wasn't so much a turf war as much as it was like a bonding, kind of like the Tio Lanestra combo?
That's what I just said.
I just reworded it.
I think it'd be neat. Like they kind of like they both because I think isn't Toby like passive until you actively try to fight him?
Sorry.
Yes.
So it'd be kind of neat if they passed by each other without fighting, but like trading electricity, just like, hey, what's up, and they went on when they went on their way.
Yeah. I think the bonding thing is a little far fetched because it's like Toby is a predator, right? What does he eat?
But I'm trying to think about like the other turf wars of stuff in the forest because I put it in the forest.
So, like,
obviously, Rathalos would probably try to attack it, get shocked, and then fly away. I'm not trying to put it above Rathalos, but I'm just trying to imagine how Rathalos would do anything to this beast.
I'm digging your mammal concept, but like I'm just not really seeing it with the porcupine without like the Vulvodon. Maybe if it was like more badger-like and it could just dwell at the bottom of the tree, like in all the tunnels.
Well, I'm
just come out and just be really grouchy.
Yeah, I'm not thinking of it like being super fast and aggressive. This is something slow that just it tries to leave. It doesn't really want to fight you as much.
What? So what if Rathalos swoops down? He tries to grab at the spines, but he retracts his leg. He's like, "Oh, that's not going to work." And then he grabs its tail and picks it up and just
throws it,
flings it. Yeah. What about that?
That'd be fun. Oh, if Devil Joe attacks it, Devil Joe doesn't give a shit about the spikes. It just goes in and does a bunch of damage to the porcupine. But when it pulls away, there's just spikes all over the Devil Joe.
Oh, like those dumb dogs that try and eat porcupines.
Oh yeah, like it's stupid dog.
They just look so sad.
And it does
after.
that animation. You know the one where he does the retaliation, but if you hit him during the retaliation, he does that big fall.
Yeah.
So what if he does that, where he like he bites at the thing? It causes like, let's just say, throw out a number, 300 damage to the porcupine, but it does like 700 damage to Devil Joe, and he's like, ah. It just does that big fall.
I think that'd be fun. I don't think he'd need much more turf wars because, like you said, he'd be in the northwest, but not like up high where Rathalos is. He'd be in those little tunnel areas where not many people go. I think technically Rathalos can go through those small tunnels, but he barely does it.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. Go ahead, Haru. Sorry.
I was just wondering,
That's
like, if with electric monsters, it might be, instead of like a set animation like the turf wars and kind of bonding, because that's basically just a turf war with a different theme.
Yeah.
It'd be cool if like it was just like random, or not random, but like persistent like lightning arcing between the two, between porcupine and other lightning monster, thunder monsters.
Oh, like when they're in the area, they just kind of happen to be discharging to each other?
Yeah, it wouldn't be like intentional on their part.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I'm not sure what exactly element he'd be weak to. I would think fire, not only because we need more fire, but because I think a porcupine would be really bad at putting itself out. So, like, if it gets on fire, it kind of panics and tries to leave.
Okay.
And that could also make it weak to actual Rathalos turf wars, you know. Rathalos tries to attack it. It doesn't work, so it just breathes fire on the porcupine, and the porcupine's like, just gets the hell out.
And it makes this high-pitched squealing as it runs away.
Also, there's
Okay.
not really many things weak to fire, is there?
Val.
Palomo.
I think Kieran, right? Technically?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Kieran.
Val, Kieran.
Yeah.
And...
Yeah, Palomo. But
Oh, okay, yeah, Palumu. Yeah, you're right. That's about it.
I keep forgetting Palumu has an element just because it's usually just weak to getting shot in the face. Like, it's really
It's the
easy.
magical wind element.
So would it be like the Kirby tire of the forest? It would just roll around everywhere.
I was thinking,
Yes.
I was actually thinking less rolling because you pointed out, it's kind of like a lame Volodon. I was thinking just more like slow shuffling, you know, because
Waddling.
if you see a porcupine move, they don't move fast. They just kind of go.
So it'd do really annoying attacks like the Val Hazak, like bite, twist, turn, tail whip thing that has the most hugest hitbox.
Yeah,
It was
and
spikes
Yeah.
another one where it kind of bunkers down and all its spikes temporarily extend. Like, I hate to say like the Kirby spike enemy, but yeah, where it crouches down and just
Yeah.
bang.
Well, I think we found Nintendo's crossover.
There
with
we
Kirby.
go.
He's-
And then the ancient tree shoots out apples.
Oh
You
no.
gotta suck them up and spit them back.
by the way, the Kirby tire is called Wheelie.
Wheelie? Okay.
Wheelie.
Oh, I do have some sad news, since we don't have much news, but there's one piece of sad news.
Uh-oh.
There's no Hunter in the new Smash Brothers. I was
Was that
really hoping.
confirmed?
But I mean, they had like the Mii fighters, and they decked them out with
Yeah.
Monster Hunter items. So maybe we might see a return of that.
I don't know.
That's true.
Is that what you're talking about?
I just wanted a real Monster Hunter, like an actual character.
Oh, like an
Yeah.
actual like hunter,
Mhm.
like they did in, like what was it, the gear in Street Fighter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it Street Fighter? No, it was Marvel versus Capcom.
One of the two.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Oh,
The
okay.
hunter that was in it was MVCI.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hunter. I don't think she was. Was she DLC?
Yes. Which is
Just
dumb
skins,
because she
if
was.
I'm not mistaken.
Oh, no, in Marvel vs. Capcom, she was a full character. And
okay.
unfortunately,
Yeah, right.
she was also in the main storyline, but was DLC.
Yeah. Yeah. That.
How can that be MSQ but DLC?
Yep.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. They're Capcom.
Capcom makes interesting decisions outside of Monster Hunter.
Yeah, I was gonna say outside
Yeah,
of
they
Monster
do.
Hunter, they kind of don't have a grasp on what works.
What are you talking about? They still make weird decisions within Monster Hunter.
Yes, true. By the way, there was a tiny bit of news that I heard. You guys heard about the thing where they're like, "Yeah, we're totally making more Monster Hunter for the Switch."
Oh right.
They had like,
Yeah, that was a video highlight, but I mean, like that's kind of almost common sense at this point when you say
That's kind of nice. Well, I thought they were going to be done after Switch Ultimate.
I
No.
don't.
no,
I mean, I think
thought wrong.
this was really predictable. I mean, they've always made Monster Hunter on handheld things. Like they make it on the console and they
It's
make
like
it
they
on the
put a game on a
handheld.
title and they see how it goes.
So, who else had a custom monster then?
well, we all do.
I guess I'll go.
Okay.
All right, so Monster Hunter World would be the location or the entry.
Okay.
I'm thinking Rotten Vale.
Mm.
Okay.
You ever see that? I want to say like it was like a late '90s movie. That movie Mimic with roaches that look like they're people, but they're not.
the?
I'm gonna take that as a no.
You cut off a little bit, so I'm really confused.
Yeah, you cut off a little bit. So
Weird. Do you ever see that movie Mimic with roaches where they look like they're
Oh,
people
no.
in the subway?
I have not, but I did see
No,
Joe's
it's
apartment.
It's an older movie.
yeah, I was gonna say Joe's apartment is what came to my mind. Little
All right,
foul mouthed
so-
roaches.
Holy
So
shit.
somewhat along the lines of like kind of Venom symbiote style, but also hive mind. So it could be of the Neopteron class. So it'd be like the insect monsters that you've seen in the game.
Okay.
So like, what if a bunch of them came together, and rather than like the Gore Magala like reanimating with the virus, more or less they're using the body as an additional vessel to take a new shape or form. So it would be like a bunch of insects that sort of connect to one another on top of an already dead provided monster, since there's an abundance of
I'm
them.
not okay with this. Can I veto? Can I
And they just-
veto
and they
this?
Actually, I
Why?
like this idea because I want that dead dead Legiacris. Not Legiacris, Legiana that falls into the veil to have a
Why
use.
do you want to veto this?
I'm not comfortable with like a bunch of small things crawling around inside of and outside of a larger thing. That's like, ugh.
It's like that movie Slither. It's just
No.
like a bunch of like maybe it could be like just parasitic worms in that environment or something. I don't care what it is. And I'm gonna describe it so that it unnerves you a little bit.
Lovely.
As long as it's
So they're
exactly what Haru
they're-
doesn't want to hear about, right?
They're slimy and they skitter. Let's say like 6 or 8 legs.
Would
maybe.
they actively change their monster host as you fight them?
Yeah, but I think that would be interesting is that like they could take different forms like on the monsters. So even if they were go on like a Gyros or an Odo, it wouldn't necessarily just be like an Odo with the texture change. Like it would take new forms that are almost unnatural or maybe like insect-like. So it's got the 4 legs and the tail and the face. But what if like an additional arm kind of spread out, made out of this stuff, and came at you, like had some stretching qualities?
That's terrifying. Also, I kind of want to see a skeletal Odo now.
Yeah, I think it would be an interesting idea. So like essentially the monster would play out the role of multiple monsters while essentially retaining its own identity, because any monster that it would adhere or bond to, you could get like your static movements that are normally accustomed with that monster fight. You could even get like a similar turf war, but at the end it would kind of have like an additional finisher move where it did something unnatural because it's made up of all these little organisms. So maybe like in a turf war where, you know, bad example since it's a different biome, but like where Diablos locks horns with another Diablos. Like
Right.
in that situation, it would like break off and come up underneath the monster and completely spin it upside down. You know what I mean? Like it would actually do something just a little bit different enough.
So Virtue,
I think it would be interesting if like, what's up?
would this be like the Conchu mechanic from Monster Hunter 4, where the Conchu like held onto a monster's skin and
Kinda,
if you
yeah.
hit that part of it, you'd
It'd be
bounce?
like an additional armor on a monster, but instead of the Conchu just being there as an added on to the monster, now this creature is taken over that monster entirely.
Yeah.
So that it's not like being fueled by rage or some virus. So it's essentially not necessarily reanimated. And it's not just like an armor buff on the monster. It'd add like new movements altogether. Maybe we're accustomed to seeing Odo on the ground and jumping off of things. What if this Odo was like suctioned to the ceiling and then like kind of dripped down and then engaged us because, you know, the insects or whatever they are doing insect things.
Okay. So that's really complex and really creepy. So like what would the
I think
armor
it should
look
have
like?
its own status. Oh man.
Oh yeah, you get covered in bugs and
Its
start
own
freaking
status.
out.
Its own status called
Well-
get him off, get him off, get him off.
Well, what if some of it broke off and got on the player, and then like
No.
over time, if you didn't get it off, then it encapsulated the hunter,
Ugh.
and then that was almost
Like
like
Snowball?
an additional something that you had to fight. Yeah, like a player just kind of loses the ability to get out of it without other players' assistance.
I'm assuming this thing would be weak to fire.
Yeah, I would think so too.
Burn it.
I would hope.
Burn it with fire.
Kill it with fire.
Well, you said cockroach, so
Okay.
it's obligatory that I get like a freaking Fat Man from Fallout and just burn it, just spam ammo.
Yeah, well, I mean that was the initial idea, just the idea of like mimicking something else, but then it would go a step further and like actually be kind of almost consuming it to a certain degree. As far as armor goes, I haven't the slightest clue what that would even begin to look like.
Oh, I actually have an idea.
Yeah, the idea is shrug.
I can find this.
Slimy, you don't look like you want to be you in that armor right now. A weapon that you don't really want to be holding
So
because it's disgusting.
there was a set of armor in World of Warcraft that was called the Crypt Stalker armor.
Uh-huh.
And oops, I just realized I was about to paste that into the wrong chat. So here you go. It gives you like extra glowing eyes and stuff like that, and it looks very spider-like. So I'm imagining that just more.
That that
This is
picture
like,
is also
that's like
super
budget
tiny.
Monster Hunter armor. I'm using my imagination though. The
Yeah, I just think it'd be neat though. Obviously, put more creepy stuff all over it.
Yeah.
So it sounds interesting if it would like imitate the monster, but then like 'cause it's a corpse, it would then like bend it or move it in ways that are unnatural or unhealthy for
not right.
Ooh, I have an idea for the
the
armor.
monster's body structure.
Give Odo a giraffe neck for no reason.
So I mean, like if it like crawled all over a monster instead of like just having the one static Odo tail, maybe now it's got like two tails, and these are more like tendrils that can move around. I don't know.
Okay.
So
It's like I'm committed until I'm
like
not.
a great Gyros having like multiple legs and stuff like that, so it almost moves like a spider and it's like crawling more towards you.
Yeah.
Also, I just realized for its armor, you could have it be like a mix of other monster from that zone's armor sets, just very like rotting or infested looking.
I could dig it.
So, it's definitely an interesting monster idea. I just wanted to like say something like about the Rotten Veil that like makes me able to appreciate it and enjoy fighting there. Is that it's like blood and corpses and all this nasty stuff, but it's
Someone's got to be down there to process the corpses.
Yeah, but like the assets are
Aside from
It needs
Odo.
to burst out of something at some point. That'd be like a nice finisher.
Oh God, no! Please, no. That's the thing that gets me is the whole chest bursting stuff.
Oh.
Ugh.
What if whenever you finally defeat it, it explodes like a corpse explosion kind of thing?
I love it. Let's get on the phone right now with Capcom.
Capcom,
Hold on,
yes.
let's,
It's-
Mr. President. Yes, I
that
know.
would be awful because it's like the quest doesn't complete until after it explodes. So it's like we did it, it's down, and then it goes poof, and triple cart quest failed, and you're like, no.
It's kind of like it's like the confetti yay of Monster Hunter, just with goop and pus and
Oh jeez.
fluid.
It could bubble up like the tar does from Gogmazios.
Ooh.
so the Rotten Veil, right?
dig it.
I
By
feel
the
like
way,
Straight effluvian.
I feel like the assets there are drawn in such a way that they kind of make the death and blood more palatable. The gore, it's not like most shock value.
Ew.
Oh yeah.
Is there any
What
way
if like
in which
the bugs themselves were like a super blood red,
Oh god, stop.
and it looked like it was constantly dripping blood
But it turns out it's just
bugs, and it looks like
It's just
blood.
like a really leaky monster.
So what I was,
Yeah.
what I was gonna ask is there any way you would like tone down this monster so it's like less creepy crawling?
Grotesque.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like it personally. I would like to see it if it was each time you fought it, it used a different monster base.
Yeah, I feel like that would be a viable mechanic for the monster. Like maybe
And-
using fire weapons on it, it would eventually like kind of break away from that corpse, and then it would skitter away, and then you'd have to chase it to the next zone, and then it would find another monster to like a dead monster or whatever to
Mostly because I want
habitate.
I want to see
so
it.
it's like
Oh, sorry, go on.
it's like a nomad. It's like a devil Joe, except it's a billion bugs.
I would think it'd be cool to have a special G rank version of it, where it takes over Val Hazak, and it's like King of
like an
Undeath
elder.
Val Hazak, infested Val Hazak.
E.
So it's got the effluvia and these horrifying
I
crypt
just
bugs.
imagine like a Vol covered in this gunk, more so than it already is, and then instead of just doing the straight shower hose of effluvian at the ground, maybe like weird tapeworm like tendril things came out and then hosed everything. Like just
As long,
the whole zone. The whole zone is screwed.
as long as its roar has a horrify effect on the hunters.
Better yet, it doesn't have a roar.
Oh gosh.
Chittering.
It would roar, and you hear nothing. You'd be like, why is it silent?
I just want there to be like a bunch of like tiny little munching sounds and then like just the dripping
Oh my
fluid.
god.
That would be nightmare
What would
fuel.
its background music be? Or would it be like Kazoo and just not have music?
No, it would have it would have a single piano just playing on the high notes really fast, like
Like you mean the theme they use for like every spider fight ever?
The BGM can just be like the entire movie of The Shining.
It's only jump
Duh.
scare piano thrills, like constantly. Not like spaced out, just like constant, like dun dun dun.
Duh! Oh man, I can never get past The Shining. The Shining is hilarious to me
What would you?
because it's like, it's like they do all this tension and building with the music. And granted, I never saw this until I was in high school, so like I was already kind of over it, and it was an older movie by the time I saw it and all that stuff. But like, it does all this tension and building, and then dead silence, and with a black screen with white letters it says Tuesday. And I made fun of that for ever since I've seen it. It's like da 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 Tuesday.
What would you call these bugs? Like corpse flies, crypt beetles, or something?
Ooh, yeah, that sounds good. I like it. You're hired.
Yes.
Let's do this.
Okay. That was
All right, Haru,
interesting.
what are you going to tell us? It's going to be something light and fluffy, right?
Well, my monster is sort of a palate cleanser, like sort of a rinsing off of all these nasty termite things.
Ouch, Haru. Ouch.
Is the water monster?
It's a water monster. So yeah,
It's a potato, isn't it?
I guess this obviously wouldn't be in World or any of the current gen games because they're not supposed to have underwater or things like that. But
Sure.
We have the beach and the forest, right?
Let me take you back a time when Kelbybo existed and slime damage was unique at one point.
yeah, no, but they didn't. They said that there was no underwater or like Icarus or anything in World.
I know.
Right, yeah.
So probably have to be next one
Yeah, that was
around
just
there.
like tech demo. So.
But it would be an otter-based monster, based on sort of the mechanic or the setting of Zamtrios, how it has that thin sheet of ice that's its lair, and you're fighting on top of it, but it can burrow under it. Well, I was thinking like next gen, like what if the ice could break apart, and then like sort of in those sand streaming areas with platforms that are slowly moving it from from 4 Ultimate. What if
Like ground shifts.
what if there was like
Yeah.
iceberg platforms like in Ocarina of Time at the where Jabba Jabba used to be, and then you were just kind of leaping from one to the other, and they were moving around with physics or the current of the water, depending on the current animation, and you had to just kind of navigate that just to get ground to fight the monster.
Is it an otter-based monster?
Yeah, otter-based. So,
Would it be related to Cicibur?
I'm sorry?
I was going to say, as long as its grapple attack is it grabbing you and then trying to smash the hunter against the rock on its belly.
Yeah. So what, Cicibur, did you say, Virtue?
Yeah, from Monster Hunter Online. It's one of the early encounters.
Oh, I don't
It's like
know.
a Kutku equivalent.
Oh, wait, is that...
It's like a beaver.
Yeah, the beaver.
The beaver that grabs the tree.
No, it's not like
Uses
that.
that as like a club.
It would live in like an Arctic, like, ocean or something. Like shoreline kind of area.
Okay.
Sea otter. But,
Okay.
yeah, do the thing where it does the backstroke and kind of munches on I don't know, like a hermitar shell or something that's grabbed.
Yeah.
And yeah, the design of it, I'd want to obviously have fur, like, brown fur. It'd be like an otter, like visually identifiable as such, but it'd be longer and obviously giant. So
Yay for a million
So it'd be
monsters.
Okay. So I guess because it's technically not in World, but who knows? Maybe, future iterations of World 2 or whatever could have swimming.
Don't say World 2.
Unite
Please
Yeah.
don't.
2G.
Well, I mean, I'm just
GG.
using it as a placeholder.
Yeah.
So if it were to have turf wars, what would it be fighting?
Well, probably whatever it gets the shells from. Because then you could have
Sure.
the turf war, and then it would persistently carry the shell away out from that.
Oh, so it snatches away the shell from a hermitar because they can break the shells. What if it just snatches it away and the hermitar has to crawl off? That's hilarious.
Yeah, it would like
So this would be like a snow ice biome, right?
yeah, like sort of like the
Yeah.
frozen seaway, but less. I don't know.
So would this introduce like a new type of hermitar centaur? Like
I don't really know.
could that be its new enemy?
Maybe it's prey, I guess.
Kind
You
Yeah,
could
like
introduce a new snail type of enemy. It would take away the snail shell.
I'm not sure if otters have tails, but I would think it would do like kind of whipping tail attacks. Maybe we could do like a
Sure.
like a maelstrom in the water where it would pull all the ice platforms in and damage you, sort of like the inhale attacks of some monsters, where they pull you towards them.
Huh.
Right.
So you'd have to be like leaping up the ice platforms out of the water that's flowing into the center. You're like frantically running away, that kind of feeling. And
yeah, there's always something to be said about like running from collapsing ice. Like that's always been like a fun aesthetic in my brain.
Right. And of course, if you fall off of the ice, just normally, you're gonna hit the water. So there would be like a more fluid transition into underwater combat, and underwater it would, I don't know,
Right.
chuckle at you like an otter. I'm not sure. I'm not a combat designer.
Okay. I mean, sounds like there's a lot of higher end graphics and mechanics for both this and Uber bugs.
Moving parts, yes.
Or what would you call them? Crypt flies or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
The Necro
Okay.
Swarm.
So what would the armor be, like furry and that kind of stuff, like a snowsuit kind of thing, or what?
Yeah.
Instead of Neopatern, it'd be Necropatern.
Ooh.
New insect breed. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I was off on a naming
I-
game. Sorry, Toaster?
I was gonna say, I imagine like the otter, since it's an otter and it sounds like it'd be a more earlier game monster. I imagine it would join the cute armor sets, kind of alongside Kirin and Palumu and stuff, and the bunny. I don't remember what the bunny's name is.
Yeah,
But
I'm
among
not
those-
sure about
yeah.
that.
Lagambe.
I think it'd be kind of a
Irakusa.
mechanically complex fight. Like, I'd
Okay.
want it to be like really
So,
like you keep
so
saying
the
your
monster
toes.
would be tech heavy, is what I'm understanding. So, like, it would be able to interact or control its environment, and that would be the challenge for the player to then counteract and or eventually get to the monster to attack it.
Yeah, it would have like the long body,
misunderstanding.
and its body would displace water to some extent. Maybe not
Yeah,
dynamically, but like just in a predefined animation sense. And that would push the
Yeah.
ice blocks around and things. Anyway, the
Yeah.
armor, like I always like the tribal armors you get at the beginning of Monster Hunter games, but you can never really wear those
Yeah.
at the end game. So maybe it could be sort of like a fur kind of tribal look to it with parts of it that are shells, like the shoulder plates or something like that.
Okay.
Then it turns out that it unearths a glacier that has a frozen Necropteron that comes after it.
They swim too.
So, what type of background music would it have? Would it have fun background music, or be more like dangerous, like?
I don't know, maybe like something
I don't know.
evocative of ice crashing, but like a little bit upbeat, because, you know, when you see an otter munching on a shell,
Fun.
it's not the gravest of sights.
Well, Canlis always sounded like it was very orchestra based, and Zamtrios I felt like it was kind of upbeat, but I don't know. I guess that
Yeah, the
never really took the time to try to figure out the music that way.
the Frozen Seaway theme was great. It'd be nice if they brought that back as like Zamtros's theme, if that monster ever comes
All
back.
right.
Okay. I can't think of any more questions on the otter.
Mhm.
Do you have anything else you wanted to say on it?
No. I'm done with my Pokemon.
Oh,
So, Fortuan, do you have a fire monster for us so we can round it all out?
A fire monster to round it all out?
Yeah.
Well, I was actually going to make it not a fire monster.
It's all good.
it's like Diablos, but has a third horn, and it's now a Triblos.
But Fortran.
That was actually a legit rumor for a while. I'm not even kidding. Like back in the old days.
But if it's not a fire monster, will it be lit?
Well, we've already had the elements of ice, water, lightning, and terrifying.
Yeah.
Yes. So what I was going to suggest is that, as I've said many times before, my favorite mythological creature is a Hydra.
Oh.
So I want a true Hydra monster. And what this would be is, I'm thinking for it to be in world, this would have to be an elder. I'm thinking it's like an elder dragon strength. And the world is where I want it to be. I want it to be a roaming one, like Devil Joe.
Okay.
An invader.
So what it is, imagine the body type similar to a fanged wyvern, except a bigger one, right?
Okay.
But it has long necks and very dragon-like jaws or heads, but the different heads have different styles. So one of them is sort of, and they're different colors too. It's like a mismatch of colors, but those sort of blend out into the necks, which occur in different colors. You got a red head, you got a blue head, and you got a green head, right?
Mm-hmm.
So RGB.
This sounds like classic gaming tells as far as game mechanics go.
Right, but make it a little bit more believable. Yeah, kind of like that. So what it is it actually is it is three different elements. It is fire, it is lightning, and it is and I wasn't going to say electricity, but more like a kind of like an effluvia, but it's a green gas.
Like a poison?
Okay.
You're like naming like the Captain Planet of Hydras right now.
Right, basically.
Dig it.
So would it be poison?
So what this thing would do is it's like this voracious predator like a Devil Joe, and it would have a turf war with Devil Joe, but what it is, it's like an elder. It's like a roaming elder, because we don't have a roaming elder. They're just in different areas. So this roaming elder would be like, do you guys ever play Portable Third?
Nope.
Yeah.
So Portable Third, you had a random chance at the end of a quest for another monster to show up, and it was
Who
optional.
said nope?
Oh,
Me. I have not played the PlayStation ones.
Rebel scum.
I haven't played Portable Third either because it
Traitor.
destroys the legacy of Try.
I like to pretend.
What? That's the birthplace of
I like to
Try.
pretend that I like my hands, so I don't want to use the claw.
I played it, and I played it on PS3. So there.
How dare you dishonor Yukumo Village?
So it would be a roaming elder that would basically, it would have to do like the mechanic of the Portable Third. When the quest ends, you had a random chance for another monster to show up, and it was like extra. You didn't have to kill it. So what this would do is like, hey, this elder dragons are invading. Screw the quest you're on. You got to handle this now, or like that kind of thing.
Huh.
And maybe that's like a storyline thing or whatever.
I missed that alert system. It's like when additional monsters showed up, and it's just like danger.
Yeah, and that's kind of what it would be. So what this thing would do is it would have it'd have a long tail, so it'd have tail whip attacks and that kind of stuff. But you would have to handle 3 different attacks. I don't want to make it too gamey where it's like, hey, it goes out in a W, or hey, they're all sweeping across, but something that feels a little more believable but also predictable with 3 heads. So
Ooh, if I find it, I'll have to show it to you after the cast. There was a Hydra type of monster in one of the MMOs that
In the concept art, if I'm not mistaken.
was
right?
there.
well,
I could've
that
sworn
ended
it
up
was.
being Narcarcos, or the snakes you're talking about.
That's what I was thinking about when you're talking about different elements on different heads.
Yeah, so
Even though Nakarko still blasts like the same element from both of its tendrils.
right. So basically, this elder is meant to be a tough fight, but at the same time, I don't the mechanics of it, like, I don't really fathom, because like that would it'd be kind of hard to do 3 different heads to begin with. We all kind of made complex monsters. This one, it would be in any area. It would be, it would just come after the monster you're trying to go after. Maybe it would be a thing where it's basically ignoring you and trying to kill the monster. And if it kills it and you don't, like it eats it or something, and you don't get carbs or something like that. I don't know. That wouldn't be fair, but
that's rude.
That's just an idea. So for armor, I want this thing to have the 3 heads as the armor. So what it would be is the head and the chest piece. So the head is the central head, which I'm going to say is the red one, and it's got the green and the blue on the shoulder pads. Sort of like, like there's a lot of heads on shoulder pads for a lot of different armors, and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Legit, I could see it.
So the gloves would end up being sort of like these clawed hands, sort of thing, to make it look like the legs, and then of course, the waist would probably be something a little more, not as like big as a Diablo's kind of thing, but a little wider to make you give like a more wider body appearance of the Hydra, and then the legs. Of course.
When you said Hydra, I was hoping that you were talking like massive, like a turf war against Zora Magdaros or something.
I mean, yeah, I love the idea of like a Hydra that big, but I don't think any big boss monster.
Dalamador or Shah Dalamador.
Yeah, any big boss monster. I don't know. Like I like the idea of it roaming, and you couldn't do that with any sort of those like locked area boss monsters.
Now you say there's no roaming elder, but hypothetically, isn't Kulv roaming? Like at least in the portrayal of storyline, like it's moving from one location.
It could be digging underground,
but you find like the gold deposits out in the open world in the different maps early on.
Well, I mean, Kulve, yeah, it's roaming in the sense of like it roams around that map, but I'm thinking roaming like Devil Joe, like it could be in any of the areas. The default areas.
Like Zora and Kulve, you find their tracks in the areas, but like no one ever thought you could fit a Zora Magdaros into the bottom of the Rotten Vale. That was never sold to us.
Yeah, no.
No, yeah. No.
Clipping, you're like inside of it.
Right. Yeah.
Get the magma course.
Yeah, I would want it to not be so large that it could fit in a lot of those areas. And it would be kind of cool for it to actually be like Lunastra, where Lunastra is unique in the fact that a lot of its quests actually have other elders in that quest,
right.
So it could have turf wars with other elders too. Whereas I don't know how those turf wars would go, but I would assume a lot of the times it's basically like one head is fighting off, like the one element, and the other head is sort of.
Well, I was going to say that would be a good idea, or at least that's where my head was going, is that it could use the opposite element to counteract whatever that elder is, and then with one of the other heads, then fire at it with the appropriate element, so it neutralizes and wins.
Yeah, so like Lunastra's doing like a fire breath at it, or trying to explode, and it's basically countering with fire, and then it shoots off the gas at it or something, which ignites and blows up Lunastra and that kind of stuff. Yeah, I was gonna say that's one thing I forgot to say. The gas could be ignited by the fire. And the yeah, so the gas fire, and then the wow, I already forgot the other element.
They need to bring back that fart status from Kongalala.
The worst.
I'm okay with soiled being gone. I'm totally okay with being gone. So yeah, that was my spitball of an idea.
So Fortuan.
I can't. Oh, wait. I forgot to mention something. It would be the first weapons to have triple elements.
Jeez.
No.
Yes.
Interesting.
You're wrong.
It would be the poison, fire, and what did I say? Cold. Yeah, cold.
What if it was just a random element every time you swung the weapon?
That sounds broken as shit.
I mean, I'm tired of sucky elder armor and weapons. I'm just saying. Lunastra's stuff was great. I loved it. But the gosh, like I was saying, Arc-Tempered Val, like, just throw that armor out the window sometimes. Like, seriously, like, it's like, oh, you want that peak performance on the helmet? That's cool. Here's some dragon attack to go with it. I'm like, no, I don't.
Salt.
No. So you can't tell me that Lunostra's weapons aren't broken either. Like,
I mean, but in the sense that they're broken, they're not broken as an individual. They're broken as an idea. Like compared to all other weapons, like all other weapons, you're just stuck. Like this is the final path. That's what you get. With Lunastra, you have a choice and you can make it. It still requires the mats to burn out and produce it.
But I mean, the Lunastra Xenojiva tree completely eliminates the need for Xenojiva armor.
Yeah. Well,
that's true.
So
too bad, so sad.
So I'm saying, it doesn't have to be like a ton of every element. It could be like like a third of what it would normally be, and the total, the elemental damage would add up to what it would normally been. But
what if it was a file system and you could change them manually?
You're adding a mechanic already on a very complex weapon system.
Let's make this harder.
Let's just say, hey,
we're
you
living
thought
in pretend, man. We can have whatever we want.
I mean, true. Let's just say you thought you knew how to play Monster Hunter. Now you really don't.
So the only weapon with dual elements is the Teostra and Kushala dual blades with ice and blast.
Fire.
That's such a great weapon,
blast,
by the way.
And that's technically, it's not two elements on one hit. It's different elements on the different hits of either dual blade.
Right.
So it's still only one element per quote unquote weapon.
Right. Yeah.
I think we're following Haru.
Yep.
And there's an explanation for that. Sure, I get it, because there's one element sword and another element sword. No, this would be all three. Just because
what if it was an insect glaive trash, and then depending on which end you use, that had a different element?
Okay. Yeah, I like the designs of the weapons too, to have a lot of dragon head motifs, like a lot of just like these draconic looking like mouths and heads and that kind of stuff. Speaking of which, I really miss the designs of the Dijin and what was the other charge blade? The Dijin is as a sword and shield, but the old,
you mean the Camellios? Oh.
No, the old Rathalos...
Well, Camellios had it too. Had like a flamed-based piece on the end of it for one or two of the weapons.
Right. No, it was a cool design, but I was thinking like the charge blade, where the fiery blade that slotted in when it was sheathed on the back turned into the red eyes that were sort of hollow holes for the shield.
I did not know about that.
Yeah.
I used the Zamtros one lot where it had the biting teeth.
Yeah. No, I don't remember what the charge blade was called, but the Rathalos chain of charge blades in 4 Ultimate and Generations, you would sheath the sword behind the eyes of the shield, and the eyes would be red when they were sheathed.
Well,
I always like the idea behind the Tenbra D in the 3rd gen series, where the long sword was skinny and then it expanded out and became bigger, and then I think like the Japanese equivalent that we never got was that one anime show with the blade.
Inuyasha's sword, yes.
Thank you. Yeah. So I mean, it was essentially just like a reskin, or like a reskin of the idea, but
right. Well, yeah, okay. There was even now there's the longsword for Devil Joe grows with each charge level.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. It gets huge at red.
I haven't noticed that.
Okay, cool. We have like 5 minutes left. Is that enough for a monster balloon?
Oh, are we going to limit it at 1 hour?
Before we move on, Fortuan, your monster reminds me a lot of Nakarkos. So
I mean, yeah.
I was wondering
kind of
if
he's vetoing.
You're putting off the one monster I want to do.
No, I'm not vetoing. I'm just, since this is the next generation from Nakarkos, I was wondering if we could call your Hydra Knack 2.
Knack 2.
Boo.
No! No!
Oh, shit.
Pun appreciated, but no!
Waiting for that one.
Man. Jeez, no. Okay. Yeah, let's do the monster balloon toaster.
Okay. So this might go. I'll try to make it quickly. To be fair to our audience, but
No.
I'm ready.
Okay.
All right. I have a brand new monster idea. What if we were to take a Monoblos and put another horn on it, and it'd be bigger and cooler than a Monoblos, and we could call it a Duoblos. No, that's stupid. What would you call it?
Blades Oblos?
You mean Diablos?
I do mean a Diablos.
Oh, man.
Quadblos.
Quadblos.
The Quadblos. So today we're going to talk about the
Let's just keep adding more horns.
The Hexoblos. It's dangerous.
Nergigante.
So today we're talking about Fortuan's favorite monster, the Diablos.
Yes.
Octoblos.
So I'm actually going to hand over the reins to you for once. For the opening. How would you like to describe the Diablos, sir? Gonna let you fan out about it real fast.
Okay. Take a wyvern, mix it with a triceratops, and give it an ankylosaurus club tail. There you go.
I never thought about the Triceratops, yeah.
Except for the nose horn. The two giant... Yeah.
It's like a Triceratops, but not.
And wings.
There's a ton of ceratopsians that have one horn, and there's a ton of them that have three, but there's none that have two. So I couldn't say any of them other than the most recognizable one, which is Triceratops.
So Diablos has been in every game, I believe. I don't think there's actually been one that has not appeared in.
Untrue.
Yeah, it's
Really?
4 and Cross.
4 and Generations.
It wasn't in 4?
No, we never got 4,
4U.
so...
Oh, well,
In
4
4
you,
Ultimate,
I mean...
They added
forgot
the
that-
Dunes,
Oh my
so...
God.
Yeah, it's
Western releases.
Yes.
We've had it.
Was it in Try?
no, but it wasn't in Generations, guys. It wasn't in Generations.
Huh. I did
It
not
was also
know
in
that.
Try.
Yeah, very sad.
Aw. But it is coming for Generations 2.
Yes.
I'm going to keep calling it that.
Ew, don't call it that. Gross. I need to wash myself.
If you have somehow never fought a Diablos, it is a 2-horned flying wyvern, even though it doesn't really fly.
It flies out of pitfall traps.
And it's pretty much always in the desert. In fact, with the exception of the
It's
Ezra.
flown in the previous games. When it goes out of bounds, it'll fly back into the zone. So it's done that in 4U and the original Monster Hunter. At least I
Is it
know
bad
that
that
much.
the Autozone jingle just went through my head? Into the zone. Autozone.
The only other time it has not appeared in the woods was when it showed up in the
Autozone.
Everwood, but everything shows up in the Everwood, so...
Yeah, that's true. Everything.
Sorry, I couldn't leave that at that fourth one.
That's fine.
Diablo...
Autozone duet. Let's do it.
Oh, you want to do it?
No, I'm
Together?
joking.
Oh, God.
We're too jokey in this episode. Too jokey. We
Hey,
gotta cut it down.
we need it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Diablos
Knack 2
likes
is
to...
a serious suggestion.
Yeah.
The Diablos likes to charge as its main attack, and
Yes.
it do so a lot. And in fact, it'll do so to great danger to itself.
Yes. Do you know how to stop a Diablos from charging?
Get out of the way.
Take away its credit card.
Boo.
Jeez. I appreciate it.
If it were for the fact that there's a lot of
done.
fun Diablos coming up, I would cancel this episode right now. So, it never really occurred to me. Diablos don't have any elements at all. Like
Never.
most of the desert
Hate.
things have something, but
The element of hate.
We're going back to that Pokemon that I hate Bill one.
As you pointed out, it does not like pitfall traps. It doesn't care. And I always forget that every single time because I only ever bring pitfall traps.
I mean, if you
It does. It affects them in
The
World.
first gen meta still works in World, by the way.
What's the first gen meta? Hit it till it dies?
So it goes in the ground, you sonic it, then you flash it, then you pit trap it, and then it'll try to fly back up again, in which then you flash it, and then it falls back down, and then you pit trap it again, and it goes up, then you flash it, then it falls down, and then it tries to run away, and then you sonic it, and you just keep going.
That just sounds cruel.
It still works. It's dirty.
That's how you.
feels good.
It's how you had to beat Four Horns.
Jeez.
No lie.
Yeah, it's that and like Lance's either was it BDS or you'd have the Trident, the Gravio Spear, and then like 2 BDS users.
Mm-hmm.
Good times.
They're also weak to ice, surprisingly. Never really got that.
Yeah.
Why does ice affect them?
because
Because they're creatures adapted for the desert.
because there's the Pokemon type weakness for ground.
That's Capcom Pokemon reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, its
They
element
also
sort of
are
is Earth.
super loud, like extremely loud. I think they're one of the loudest that's not a Molten Tigrex.
High grade.
Right. Yeah. They're one of the few monsters that in previous iterations their roar would act like a sonic bomb.
One thing to note in Worlds, which is kind of fun, if you shoot the birds above their lair, it'll actually come out of the ground.
Yep.
Sometimes.
In
You're
World.
talking about the Noyos? The
Is that what they're
Wingards?
called?
Mm-hmm.
Noyos.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you just shoot them
I
with
call them noisy.
anything, and they'll just like make off an alarm clock, and it wakes up the Diablos.
You have to check on your target
I like to lure
camera.
other monsters over there first.
You have to check on your target camera to make sure there's actually Diablos on the map, though, first.
Oh, right.
That's true.
And it
I was
can't be
thinking
over
some
the
of the other
cactuses
things.
or
Else you're
anything.
just abusing flying wyverns for no reason.
I just like to make noise.
Ooh.
Stop, Fortuan.
Good attempt. Good attempt.
So-
I love it.
There
I'm
are
the king of dad jokes.
there are variants, of course, of the Diablos.
Yes.
The first of which is one of the most original ones out there. It's a Diablos painted black. It is the Black
Right.
Diablos.
Which they've changed the lore on that.
Whole
Really?
lot of woman.
They have.
All right, well, I'll say the former lore first then. Formerly, Black Diablos were female Diablos that were in heat. And so they were just
Yeah.
extremely
now?
aggressive.
Right. They changed
That's
that.
the new lore.
The new lore, they're pregnant.
Really?
Wait,
Oh,
what?
that's even more
Yeah.
terrifying.
I thought they were just in heat.
No, I saw something that they changed it.
Hmm.
I could be wrong, but I read that somewhere. They changed it because if you're more aggressive when you're in heat, then how do you mate?
Very carefully.
I mean, there's plenty of things in nature that are more aggressive when they mate.
Don't even talk about ducks. I don't want to hear about ducks.
Oh,
Just don't.
I did want to.
We're not getting.
I did want to point out one thing I forgot to mention about Diablos. As terrifying and horrible as they are herbivores. They like cactus.
Cactivores, as I call them.
And in the For You opening, I believe, you actually get to see one just chomping on a cactus. And,
Yep.
and then a hunter makes a bad decision.
Just go watch the
You know-
For You opening, everyone. It's like one of the best animations.
Honestly, just go watch
That's
all the
true.
openings. They're pretty good.
Yeah.
I think 4U is one of the better titles.
I'd say so. What was the main difference between Diablos and Black Diablos other than being more aggressive?
Corkscrew.
Corkscrew, which was that?
Ducks.
The corkscrew jump out of the ground. That became a G rank move for Diablos later on, but Black Diablos always had it.
So it jumps out of the ground and it spins, or?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I did not remember that at all.
Drills to the heavens, man.
It doesn't now. You've not You've not fat blah blah Diablo. You haven't fought Black Diablos.
I think I fought it once. I didn't fight
Are you okay, Fortuan?
a Black Diablos until I was done with the storyline.
Hands above your head, smile. You good? Can you do those things?
No.
Oh, man.
But yeah, I never fought a Black Diablos until like after the storyline because you don't have to fight one. They're just kind of
Right.
occasionally there. So
Could be like me and kill hundreds of them trying to get a gold crown.
womp womp.
Majestic toothpicks.
So there are other variants, though. First, I'm going to go with the ones that we have access to. So there is the new one that's coming out soon.
Bloodbath.
The Bloodbath Diablos, formerly known as the Massacre Diablos, and formerly known as the Genocide Diablos. I like the first version.
Lame.
So,
It's the Triablos.
yeah, it is the Triablos. Part of its horn kind of broke, and then it grew back kind of jacked up. It has red and blue veins all over itself. It utilizes wind attacks, unlike anything else in the game.
What?
It kind of wind attacks. It's more like angry steam that just blows off of it.
It's like
I have not gotten to fight one yet.
It's like that scary movie with the strong arm, except it's a strong horn.
I didn't think of that.
Take my strong
like the
horn.
end of
I have
Attack on
not gotten
Titan.
to fight it yet because I could not survive playing through the Japanese double cross. But Generations Part 2 is it's come.
Toaster. Stab.
It's coming soon, right? It's the end of this year.
Next August? September? August.
Okay, and it is a deviant species
August
of Diablos. So yes, it's still weak to the same old stuff, but it's just an angry, mean Diablos. I do not remember what equipment it gives, but I remember it gives really good equipment.
Okay.
Now we're going on to the fun stuff, the things from the East. There are hardcore versions of Diablos and Black Diablos.
Yes.
So for the hardcore Diablos, it's bigger, longer horns, more veins on its wings, and more muscles. And it goes even faster. And now when now whenever it digs, it leaves a trail of rocks like raining from the sky as it spikes them out of the ground. And it has a new tail attack.
Ooh.
As for the hardcore Black Diablos, it actually has it's one of the ones that has a restriction to run. You have to be SR 17+, which is their hunter rank rating. And from what I understand, 17+ is kind of hard to get to. So while the normal Diablos, the hardcore version was just like a paragraph, the hardcore version of Black Diablos, you need to have Quake Resistance 2 just from it normally digging to stop from falling on your ground on the ass. It also has more homing charges now. Instead of just a straight charge, it'll actually home into you. It'll hop by digging its horns into the ground, then lifting them up in order to jump faster.
So just a ruder, meaner.
Yeah,
Diablo.
it has more tail slides. It can do the chin slam that Monoblos and Urangan do, where it slams its chin on the ground and makes you get quaked off so it can turn and just destroy you at the same time.
Okay.
It also digs...
I don't remember.
Oh, sorry, go on.
I was gonna say I don't remember Monoblos ever doing that.
I guess they added that to the hardcore Monoblos.
What? Like
Yep.
Frontier? Weird.
So now when it digs in the ground, it instantly starts chasing somebody instead of waiting a second. And if you use a sonic bomb on it, it'll instantly enrage. And when it's enraged, sonic bombs don't work.
Yeah.
And then as you get higher SRs, again, it's their hunter rank basically. It's just speed gets faster. When it hits 100, it goes even faster.
No, that's evil. That messes with your reaction times.
Yeah.
Well, then they give you weapons like Tonfas, where you're just like, magic and flying in the air and never really touching down.
I notice a lot of these
Crouching
descriptions
Tiger,
though
it
include
works.
the air, so I think they're designed to like knock the Tonfas out of the air. There's only 2 more left, one of which is very short. There's something that was in Monster Hunter Explorer, which, if you don't know, and if you haven't listened to any of it for other games or other ones, it is a mobile Monster Hunter game that's really hard to get to work. It is a golden Diablos called the Gilded Diablos, and it has a spinning ruby horn. there was no written information on it. Apparently, it's based on Gilgamesh from Fate's Stay Night, which I don't know that one either.
That's an anime
sense.
I've watched.
Really?
See, I'm
Yes.
Fortuan watched an anime? What?
what?
Yeah,
His name sounds kind of anime.
Fate State. Yeah. That's the Holy Grail series.
Really? Huh.
Yeah. Am I right, Haru? Am I right?
I only watched like the sequel, Zero,
Okay.
But
one of them.
I
Weird
was
name
not able to
convention.
find I wasn't able to find a description of what the Guild of Diablos does, but I found a gameplay video, and it looks like just a normal Diablos, just is shiny.
Okay.
It's a mobile game.
Which is disappointing, but if you ever want a solid gold Diablos, why not?
Hit me up. We'll chat. No, I'm joking.
And now there's a last one, and this is the one I really like. I'm going to need some help in pronouncing this name, so I want everybody to take a crack at this. I think it's Varusa Baruso.
That sounded correct to me.
It is
Subaru.
a cross between Diablos and Diablo from the Diablo series. It is a giant fiery red and angry red, fire yellow Diablos that looks like they're like, what if we just made Diablos into a straight devil?
Does it have black horns and one of them springs?
No, it has red horns that have fiery tips.
So that.
The picture's processing. There you go.
For listeners,
but-
Fortuan
I know about a
just-
Diablos you don't
It
know
uses,
about.
Fortuan just linked his
really?
profile image.
It is a fire element Diablos. It's a burst species, which I had to look up what burst species are. They're quoting this: they're rare, powerful relatives that have different elements than normal things.
Okay.
The only burst species they have of our current ones is they have a special Rathlos, a special Tigrex, and a special Kushala. And
Aside from Diablos.
yeah, and Diablos. They also have a special Espinas, but nobody knows what an Espinas is here. So
Well, I know what Espinas is.
I've read it
I'll be
somewhere
covering
in the
those when
wiki.
we get to them.
I know what Espinas is. He was one of my first monsters. I was like, wait, we never get to fight him?
Tell you what, after we're done with this first game, we might cover Espinas as a short Gaiden episode.
Okay.
But I was able to
Veru
find...
Sabu Rosu just looks like a Diablos where they decided to drop the pretense and just made it literally Diablo from, Diablo.
Yeah, it is evil looking. It still eats a cactus, surprisingly, and I was able to find gameplay video of people fighting it. It has a little mini game to it. It's called "Keep the Diablos Away from the Cactus at All Costs." So as you're fighting it,
This sounds amazing.
as you're fighting it, every once in a while a cactus will spawn, and when it does so, it has a big icon over it that's like telling the hunters, "It's right here." When it spawns, the Diablos will immediately turn and try to go after this cactus. So you have to pick it up.
Kill the cactus.
You have to pick it up and bowling ball it, roll it away from the Diablos.
Oh, jeez.
If the Diablos gets to it, it picks it up, throws it in the air, and eats it. And then immediately digs underground and reemerges as a hot purple and pink angry fiery ball. And it gets a lot more moves and attack speed, and just terrible things happen when you're around this new Diablos.
So it's like an
I
egg
do have a
quest
game-
So
within
it-
a hunt.
Its tail also starts spouting. If any of you has a butane lighter, and you know how those jets of flame look, it looks like that. Just those jets of flame start spouting out over all of its body.
So it's a sensu bean.
And now when it does its charges, it leaves behind trails of fire. And it can fly up in the air and do a fire attack that's actually very similar to Miss Goldmama's lava hot tub attack.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Dread King.
Oh no.
Okay.
But whenever it does its fiery charge, it always does so in a perfect triangle.
Okay.
And it can also slam its tail into the ground, and when it does so, an explosion will happen from this tail. I'm gonna make sure I show you guys a video after this. But if you don't know, if you want to see this, you can either try to spell the name based on it, or look up Frontier Special Diablos, and you'll find many videos on it. And I think it's a really cool, like we were talking about, just like an ultimate version of a monster. Yeah, the Diablos is it's bigger, it's angrier, it has fire, and it charges, and it's an evil Diablos, and I love it. It's
amazing.
It kind of reminds me of stories where you could just kind of, through the power of terrible genetic science, make abominations of monsters with elements. It kind of makes me wish we had more of those, where like, oh yeah, what if it was just this monster but angrier and an element?
I mean, I have more stories. I have more on Monster Hunter stories. My brother, the great gift buyer he is, bought me a copy of that.
Oh yay!
For my birthday this year.
I hope you enjoy it. It's fun.
We did a podcast on it last year.
Oh, that's right.
I have 2 copies of the game.
Oh, whoops. Sorry about that. I completely forgot somehow.
Yeah, it's fine.
But yeah, it is a very cool Diablos, and I wish they would bring it someplace where we can fight it.
Yes, I need Frontier. Just do it, Capcom. Just do it. I don't care.
Don't do
if
it,
it's
Capcom.
antiquated.
I know some people who may be hosts of this podcast will tell you to do it, but don't do it, Capcom. Really, just don't.
So,
but Haru,
that is my section on Diabloses. I actually have a little fun thing if you'd like. First off, somebody said that they knew about a Diablos I didn't know about. So, what is this?
I'm checking with my sources, and they're arguing with me right now. But I remember.
But I do have a.
Are you talking about the old one? Old one horn?
The original first, the one horn.
Yeah.
That we used to refer to as Diablo during the excellent Kai
That was a
days of
thing?
Monster
What?
Hunter.
Yeah, no, there's a special quest in Freedom 2 and Freedom Ultimate
2G.
called there's an old quest called Old One Horn, and he's like a triple strength Diablos with triple the health.
Souped up.
Yeah, and he does like double the damage or something like that. But he is a Diablos. He's a normal Diablos. He's huge. He's like gold crowned immediately. And he is he already has one horn broken off.
Huh.
And he's
Now, in my memory, for some reason, I want to say that I could have sworn that the Diablos was red with black horns and one was cracked, but I know that the armor's red, and that's what my source is telling me, is that it was just the armor. The armor was red.
no,
but the
he was
monster
a
still
normal looking Diablos with one
Yeah.
broken horn.
But
the
we used to
armor
refer to him as just
was
Diablo back then.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to look for information on this, because my casual Googling turns out if you put the word horn in Monster Hunter, all you get is stuff about hunting horns. So
No, you have to say Old One Horn Quest or something like that.
Okay, but that's neat.
Yeah.
So I had a fun. If you guys want to do this real quick, I have a fun little game for us, and you don't have to take too long to think of this. If you were to make a variant of Diablos, since we were talking about making our dream monsters, if you were to make a variant Diablos,
The old Dengeki
what would
quest.
you do? What super Diablos would you come up with?
Poison Cactus Diablos.
Oh,
He's green, he's got purple spikes, and he shoots them out and they're poisonous.
that sounds devious. Would it do anything different with his charge, or would it just be an angry purple or an angry poisonous Diablos that's covered in spikes?
I mean, he's green and he'd basically poison you if he charges, but I don't want to get too crazy.
Okay. What about you, Haru?
Earthbender Diablos. So it like throws rocks up into the air, like boulders up into the air with its horns digging, and then it jumps and flips and kicks them at you.
Oh, that's awesome.
Or maybe like tail sounds, I don't know. Like volleyball.
Like rock fighter Diablos.
Yeah.
Rock.
No, I can't remember her name. What's her name from Avatar? There's another anime I was
Toph.
into. Toph, there you go. Hey, look at this, guys. I'm a secret anime closet fan.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
After all those years of denying it,
Weeb.
you're finally showing your true colors. What about you?
Yes.
What about you, Virtue? You got an idea for a Diablos?
I call it the Fortuan blows. And It screams really loud because it's telling you that it loves Diablos as its favorite monster, which it also is. No. No, you don't like that?
I was like, where's he going with this? Should I be flattered or like? Okay.
I gave you a super complex monster earlier.
Yeah, it's fine.
So vainglorious Diablos.
I think it'd be fun to have an ice-based Diablos, just to have that one that's not the only Diablos in existence that's not weak to ice. And when it does its charge, it leaves like a slippery trail on the ground. So as it charges more and more, the fight gets more and more annoying.
And has to eat snow cactus.
Yes.
And to defeat it, you have to do a Pokemon ice puzzle.
Pokemon Ice Puzzle. Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, sliding across the ice and.
Oh, that's from Gen 1. Oh yeah. Ooh.
Wow.
Oh, they're in all of the Pokemon games for sure.
But yeah, I just think I think Diablos is a cool monster. I'm really glad they do more with it. And I hope they keep giving us more variants of Diablos. I want Diablos to become like that monster, kind of like Rathalos, where there's a lot of variants.
Well, like I was going to say, he's been a staple of the series for so long, and he's only missed 2 games. Before 4, there was only 3 monsters to survive the whole series, and that was Diablos, Rathalos, and Rathian. Everything else had been dropped at some point or another. Everything else. Actually, that's not true.
What about the greatest monster of all?
Aptonoth and Kelby. Herbivores. Some herbivores have been around the whole time, but we're talking like boss monsters.
Right.
Yeah, it's just very disappointing to me when I heard that 4 didn't have Diablos, because it broke the chain that Diablos was like an evergreen. It was up in the air, whereas Rathalos and Rathian are evergreens. They're always going to be in the series.
It's like in the moon, and it smiled and then gave a wink and then faded away behind the clouds.
Very poetic.
Well, I mean, they've added them back into every game that hasn't have it to begin with.
Right. Well, that's true. Yeah, it's still one of the most in there for sure.
And it was even
Cool.
it was even in Monster Hunter Online and Monster Hunter Spirits, which was the weird stand-up arcade game.
Yep.
So many weird games.
So I think we should wrap it up here. We're approaching an hour and a half. So.
Oh yeah, I think that was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was fun. Okay, I'll do the outro as usual. I'll kick it off to Haru, and then I'll kick it off Virtue, and then Toaster, and we'll.
Could we do a Get in the Zone, Autozone?
Like right after we end?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we could do it after we talk to Toaster. Yeah, let's do it. Okay. Thank you, Hunters, for joining us today. This is Fortuan at Hunters Hub Pod on Twitter. And we'll see you around next quest. Where are we going to see you, Haru?
Oh, I'm on Twitter at Akane, like Japanese Akane, is dead Gran, and I just tweet about, politics and video games and normal, boring stuff. Toaster, where can we find you?
Okay.
Yeah.
Virtue.
Oh, hey. I tried not to mess up like last time. Brother Virtue _ Twitter or Twitch.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Toaster, where we're going to find you?
You can find me at Toasty Smiles at Twitter.com. Is it Twitter.com? Whatever. Toasty Smiles at Twitter. And you can also find me in the desert with a lot of duct tape and trying to make the legendary Decablos. Wish me luck.
Next thing's going to be Dodeca Diablos.
Monster Hunter TCG.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where we're going to go. So you want to do it, Virtue? Get in the zone, Autozone?
You gonna do it with me?
Sure, yeah.
We all doing it?
Sure.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Get in the zone.
Autozone.
Autozone.